Hello all, welcome back. This is She Loves God video blog, and today's topic is on the topic of soulmate. Do you believe that there is a soulmate for you? Do you believe that God picked out a man for you women, or a woman for you men, before you were even born, or before the foundations of the earth? Do you believe that He planned it so that you would, hopefully someday meet your soulmate and live happily ever after? So that is a question I want to ask, because I've heard many people say that, they're waiting on their soulmate, they're waiting on the one that was made for them, and I just wondered, is that even, is it even biblical? Is that what the Bible says? Because, sometimes we can think things sound great because we've seen them on a TV show or a movie. The question is it biblical? Did God say He had a soulmate for you? And if you believe in the soulmate theory, which I obviously do not, what Bible verse made you think that? Okay, so I want to show you all some Bible verses, and I want to see if any of these verses make you think that there is a soulmate out there for you. Okay, Proverbs 18:22, we all know that verse. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Whoso findeth a wife. Now, most people will say, okay, first of all, that shows us the woman shouldn't be looking. It should be the man looking. And, the Bible does tell us, seek and ye shall find. So some of you all may say, okay, then I'm supposed to be, as a man, I'm supposed to be looking or seeking, and I will find a good thing. So, do you believe that you are supposed to be trying to find your good thing? And I'm actually listening to a song right now by Mr. Dale. It's called Good Thing. Good Thing, Thang, and he's rapping about how he found his good thing, his wife. But so if you find a wife, you findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. So does this verse say anything about soulmate? Does it say whosoever or whoso findeth his wife or his soulmate, or the woman that God picked out for him before the foundations of the earth, or before he was born, he findeth a good thing? It just says find a wife. It's pretty, simple. And if you find a wife a good thing, then you obtain favor of the Lord. You can consider yourself being favored of the Lord in this regard. So that's one verse. Does that verse have any indication of find your wife I picked out for you, your particular soulmate? Okay, then we also know this verse, this passage, 2 Corinthians 6:14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? So this verse here tells us, don't be unequally yoked with together with unbelievers. So it's not really telling you, don't be yoked with someone who's not your soulmate or someone who I did not make for you. It said, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Now, some people say, well, this verse is not talking about matchmaking. It's just talking about, Christians as a whole or as a group should not hang out with unbelievers as a group. It didn't say, particularly husband and wife or whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend. But we know that, you can still apply that to matchmaking. So did it say don't be, it didn't say don't be unequally yoked with someone who's not your soulmate. It just said don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So there's only one qualification. Because sometimes, we try to say, I wonder, does the Bible, give me a guideline of what kind of man or woman to pick out? And we know that, for the women, all men, well, Christian men, many Christian men want a Proverbs 31 woman. But, for us women, we don't even know, we don't even really have a standard, really. Other than Jesus, but we really have no standard on what to pick. But this verse here, 2 Corinthians 6:14, all it says is don't be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. It never said don't be unequally yoked with someone I did not pick for you as your soulmate. So those two verses, do they even hint remotely at a soulmate for you? Okay. And then one other verse I want to go to Proverbs 31. Because many Christian men I know, they're waiting out for, they're looking for, they're praying for a Proverbs 31 woman. And that is the last chapter of Proverbs. And I think one thing most people don't even acknowledge about this Proverbs 31 woman is that, well, see, most of us, when we read Proverbs 31, we usually start at verse 10, which says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." So we usually go to Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31. But not many of us look at verse 1. Okay? Verse 1 says, "The words of King Lemuel," I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but King Lemuel, "the prophecy that his mother taught him." Verse 2, "What, my son? And what, the son of my womb? And what, the son of my bowels?" Verse 3, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings." So he just, this is a prophecy that his mother told him. King Lemuel, I don't know anything about this man, but he obviously had a mother who wanted him to find a good daughter-in-law for her, I guess. And it's a prophecy. So some people act as if this is an actual woman that really existed. This woman is just telling the ideal woman. It's not saying you're going to necessarily find her. And so I know some young men in the church are looking for a perfect Proverbs 31 woman. I'll read you all some of their qualifications. I'm not going to tell you. Well, I'll tell you which verse. Verse 11, "The heart of her husband does safely trust in her." Verse 12, "She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life." Verse 13 says, "She works willingly with her hands." Verse 14 says, "She brings her food from afar off." Verse 15 says, "She rises while it's still nighttime." Or I guess she rises up. I guess she gets up before dawn to work. Verse 16 says, "She considers fields and she buys it." Verse 21, "She's not afraid of the winter time or the snow for her household, because her household is clothed with scarlet." So she takes care of her family. He talks about in verse 26 how she openeth her mouth with wisdom. So she's a wise woman. And his mother, King Lemuel's mother, is basically just this is a prophecy. This is not a real woman. And so are too many Christian men looking for this Proverbs 31 woman, saying, "If I find her, she'll be my soulmate, she'll be my Mrs. Right." And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, you should have high standards. You should look for a woman who's trying to be the best that she can be. And yes, many Christian women do look to Proverbs 31 women to be their standard. But the truth is that you really will not find a woman like this in America. I'm sorry. The women are not like that in America. And there may be some women somewhere else in another country, but women in America are not like this. This is a prophecy. This is not even a real woman. So, are we trying too hard to be like this woman that, that this woman is prophesying about? Now, some of you all may say, well, it's not really a prophecy. I mean, I say the whole thing is a prophecy. Because verse 1 says the prophecy that his mother taught him. But I think the whole thing is a prophecy. Some of you all may say, no, the prophecy stops at verse 9. But I believe that the whole chapter is a prophecy. So this woman is not a real woman. She's a hypothetical woman. She's the ideal woman, but she's not, necessarily what's going to happen. So, did any of these verses tell you soulmate? Because the truth is that if it was a soulmate, she wouldn't have went through all these details. She would have just said, look for your soulmate in a story. Pray for your soulmate in the story. But she didn't do that, She simply just explained the kind of woman he would like. And so some men are saying, I know my soulmate, she'll be just like this woman in Proverbs 31. And the truth is that it's not necessarily the case. And if there was a case, if there was a soulmate, wouldn't his mother have just said, she obviously spoke of prophecy. So wouldn't his prophetic mother, wouldn't she just say, King Lemuel, my son, look for your soulmate? So the question is there a soulmate out there for you? And I just read you all I read you 2 verses, and then I, read parts of Proverbs 31. And in part 2, I'm going to read a little bit more to see if the Bible talks about a soulmate. And then I'll stop there. So look for part 2. Thank you.